Welcome back. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that the Trump administration is using tariff revenue to pay down national debt, dismissing the idea of a rebate check disbursement within the next few months. The secretary telling me recently that he's expecting that tariff revenue to exceed $300 billion this year alone. The national debt currently stands at $37.25 trillion. Joining me now is the president for a committee for a responsible federal budget, Maya MacGuineas. Maya, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, and you've been so great in terms of itemizing the budget and telling our viewers what the main issues are. What is your expectation in terms of tariff revenue, and what is your reaction to the fact that we're talking about real money now? I mean, you know, Bessent is talking about up to $1 trillion in revenue from these tariffs over the next couple of years to go toward cutting debt.
Indeed, this is turning out to be a very significant revenue stream, and that is good news because we need it. We need everything that we can get that will bring our structural borrowing down. So there are a lot of questions about the tariff revenue. Which tariffs will stay in place? How long will it be collected? Will that base of tariff that the tariffs are put on, will that shrink? But so far, the numbers indicate that the revenue is coming in very strongly, and this is going a tremendous way to offset the additional borrowing that came from the tax cuts that were just passed. And furthermore, his additional news that they're not going to give this money back, but instead use it for deficit reduction is absolutely the right priority. It's very important that we keep that there and help get the government finances back in the right direction. It's not getting us on track. We still have a huge amount of borrowing that they've inherited, but this would offset a lot of the tax cut borrowing that was just put in place. So by all accounts, it's a big fiscal improvement if it stays in place.
So what are your expectations in terms of spending and getting spending under control? You know that the Republicans have talked about another reconciliation plan at some point later this year. The Economic Policy Innovation Center is circulating a new memo with key congressional GOP figures. And a source told Fox News Digital the conservative roadmap is targeting Medicaid and student loans for the next President's Big Beautiful Sequel, they're calling it.
So, Maria, I have to say I've been somewhat shocked and disappointed how little willingness there is to address spending so far. We have Republican President, Senate, and House, and it was my sense that that would mean that there would be a real focus on controlling spending. What we saw in the reconciliation bill was a huge willingness to cut taxes, but a much more concentrated willingness to reduce spending, with many members saying, oh, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to do Medicare. I don't want to do Medicaid. All of these things that we know need to get under control. We need to look at how that spending works. And so I am worried moving forward. What we do need is another reconciliation bill that focuses on generating savings. For instance, the spending fell about $600 billion short from what the House had asked for. The very least they could do is pass a spending bill that cuts about $600 billion in spending. That won't be enough to improve our fiscal situation in any way that's significant, but it would be at least keeping to their original promise. But there have been so many promises of what not to do when they talk about reducing spending. So yes, I hope they will focus on Medicare, Medicaid, student loans. There were some areas of improvement already in both Medicaid and student loans. They need to build on those. We will be eager to put out lots of ideas where there are useful improvements to be made. But you know, politics, turns out that nobody wants to cut spending that much. Politicians like to cut taxes and raise spending, and that's the equation that really doesn't work.
And I would imagine that only intensifies going into a re-election year of 2026, Maya.
Yep, the politics of this makes this so much more difficult. And part of that's on us, the voters. We reward people who don't make hard fiscal choices, and that's bad for the country.
All right, Maya, we'll be watching all of that. Great to get your insights, as always. Maya MacGuineas joining us. Stay with us. We're talking with the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, Rick Crawford, coming up. Stay with us.